And as my left leg hit the ground, I caught my right leg with my hands, both hands, and twisted my body and landed on my left shoulder so that I could keep my leg up in the air because I knew that I didn't have a leg there.
Yeah.
It's not just a dream, it's a wet dream of orgasmic proportions that belongs in a different galaxy altogether.
Hello and welcome back to the second edition of the Subs Bench, fresh into 2020. How's our Christmas and New Year break been? TC?
Perfect, mate. Yeah, good time. Good trip away for the family, up the coast for Christmas Day, down the coast for New Year's. Brilliant.
Yeah. Any unwanted Christmas gifts?
Actually, yes, there was. I opened up quite a doozy on Christmas Day. Mrs. was like, "Oh, you're gonna like this one." And I was like, "Oh shit, wonder what this is." And I opened it up, and I'm like, I looked at it. I was like, "What the fuck is this?" She's like, "Oh, it's one of those massage guns I got off the internet." On closer inspection, it's a fucking purple dildo. No, not a dildo, it's a vibrator. It's a fucking massage wand with about 5 speeds, and I opened it up and I got it going. I was like, "Babe, this is not a massage gun." She's like,
She
the
bought it for
description
herself.
said it was a massage gun.
It kind of is.
So essentially, it was a present for herself.
So I said, "Are we keeping it?" She looked at me. It's like, "Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We might give it a test run, then hand it back, I reckon."
Soiled good. Nabby, Christmas, New Year?
Christmas with the nephew and my nan and family. First Christmas back. I live in Brisbane, which is good. New Year's, not a great deal. A few lads around. Pretty tame this year, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Sign of age, I think.
Yeah, it only gets worse, mate, I tell you. Dusty?
Yeah, well, it was a big day, Christmas. My first one in Brisbane ever, actually. So with the in-laws, it was good. Big day. New Year's down the coast. You was there, weren't you, Tommy?
I was there.
You was there.
I was there.
There's a bit of a
With the present.
There's a bit of a rejects reunion,
I took the present, took the massage
but
wand.
with wives and children. So
Yeah, it's pretty hectic.
it was a bit of a full-on few days. It was good.
Uncle Squid smacking him over the fence for 6.
Ryan Stenhouse still not out for 154.
Just bullying the kids.
Yeah. Any resolutions from you lot? Like a New
Go
Year,
on,
new
Dusty.
me, or anything like that?
Sure.
Mate, I've got I got a baby on the way.
Yeah.
She can come at any time.
Baby
so.
Manus.
Little baby
Manus.
Manus, baby girl. So I haven't really thought too far ahead of that. Just make sure she comes through all good and be a good papa,
Yeah.
I suppose.
Nabby?
Get fit,
Goals for the Rovers, pretty much.
pretty much. Won the Rovers.
Yeah. And TC, looking to win your place back?
Yeah. I'm pretty happy where I am,
What, with the present?
Yeah, with the present. I'll just sit back and just use me massage wand.
Yeah. Well, I've actually gone 2 days without meat. I'm not going vegan.
Hashtag game changers.
You've already
No,
told
I
us
haven't.
about it though.
I haven't actually watched that program. I just heard a lot of people talking. I feel as if I don't need to watch it now. But now I'm going to cut down on meat and piss.
I've been doing the same.
I went 2
And
days
what?
without alcohol, but
And
I'm back
what?
on it now.
Piss.
Oh.
Yeah.
Shout out Stan and Wood.
Yeah. Shout out. So we're joined today by our first guest of the podcast, a lad who I know quite well now after the last few years, and we've got a story about the first time we ever played against each other. I'm sure Timmy can go through that one. Timmy Lawson, welcome.
Thanks for having me on. It's a pleasure to be here.
You don't look nervous at all, mate.
No, fucking shit myself. I was sweet all morning and then that coffee just got me. Now I can't stop shaking, it's too big.
Doesn't look tan at all.
It's all good.
Shit rig.
It's all
Fresh
good.
off the sun.
Real shit
Yeah.
rig.
Cannot tell he's at the coast at all.
Timmy always looks minging.
Terrible looking.
Well, actually about that, I was a bit worried you were going to drop me when Nabby said at the end of the last podcast that you couldn't have any people that are too good looking on. And
That was
so I was like, oh shit, I better not come down. And then I heard that Rog was coming in for the second half, and that evens us out. So we're all good.
All right, so since the last episode, transfers. Oscar Dillon
I think that's
from
empty.
Gold Coast Knights to Western United. Nearly.
A-League, professional.
Yeah.
He's done well.
Yeah.
Because he went. He went for a trial. Did he trial?
Yeah, he's
Or
been
they-
trying for a while, I think.
Need more of it.
Cut his hair though.
Yeah.
I don't go
Took
much
that.
on that. Good on him though, because how good's
You
that?
reckon?
Like, especially
Oh, his hair. Oh, you're talking about football.
I
Yeah,
was
go on,
talking about
sorry.
football.
Continue.
professional contract out of season. What was he? Player of the year, young player of the year,
Young player of the year.
NPL,
Yeah.
banging goal in the grand final from centre back.
Yeah.
Who lets a centre half take free kicks?
Worked out
Yeah,
alright.
it did work out alright.
Yeah.
But he's obviously deserved it, so fair play to him. Hope he goes
Yeah.
and actually plays.
He was on the
every
bench
week.
too. He got on the bench.
Well, they were short a couple yesterday. I know that, but hopefully he gets a run. Does well.
Hundo.
Makwase from Lions to Gold Coast Knights we're hearing.
Ching ching.
I'm not sure if
Yeah.
I haven't seen anything official, but the word on the grapevine.
Is this allegedly?
It's alleged.
Yeah, it's allegedly, but
It's
people,
happening.
people on the inside have said it's took place.
Hello.
A big loss
So-
for Lions, but
Interesting move, isn't it?
Interesting to see if Lions bringing someone else in to replace him,
well,
because they've already sort of replaced one with
one of
one.
that. So the
What have you heard?
no, it's what I actually heard previous to
Okay.
the last one where I announced Maltby had gone from Strikers to East. He's actually gone to Lions, hasn't he?
Oh.
Right.
So
Interesting.
my bad.
Bombshell.
Got one wrong. I'm going to get a few wrong, I think, because we hear things allegedly on the
Yeah,
grapevine.
that's true.
Apologies to the listeners.
Yeah. Yeah.
All
Rumours.
350 of them.
Right.
Thanks for liking.
And those 3 thumbs down.
All right. So as we got a guest on, I think it would be fair to go through Timmy's career to date.
If that's what you'd call it.
Yeah. Well, where do we want to start?
Pastime.
Stellar.
Because there's been plenty of clubs. So.
Yeah, there has been. I've copped something I've copped a bit of stick about. But there was a reason for it all. Football for me was something that I did out of enjoyment. It was a release. Need to be at the right place with my mates. Turn up and enjoying myself to get the best out of my game. Played a few years after school at Grange Thistle, men's Div 2. So I skipped all of the youth stuff, which I feel was pretty important because I think I played for a lot longer than a lot of my friends from school did. I didn't wear myself out.
So
I
you're
guess you'd
saying
say.
it's important to miss the youth.
Yeah, for me it was.
So you
I was-
didn't get sick of it. You
I didn't
sort
get
of-
sick of it
yeah.
at all. I loved it. I just enjoyed it. I loved going to training, loved playing games. I hated the off season. It was kind of disappointing. That few weeks, I wasn't much of a. No, I was a bit of a drinker. So I did used to hit the piss
Allegedly.
pretty hard.
Do you think like on that? How you're talking about, you miss like the youth part of it. Do you think like you see too many now where like maybe parents are too far involved and a bit too pushy? So like kids are losing interest. Is that sort of
There's definitely that comes
different
into
these days,
play. It's different these days. The problem that I had with missing that whole youth system is that I missed the system, which is so important. And I found out that to be very detrimental when I got older, trying to get higher pathways and whatnot. I was a nobody.
It's like if you
Yeah.
haven't made it by this age.
Yeah,
sort of-
I wasn't on any team sheets at the age of 15, and therefore I was
no one knew you.
no one. So that was pretty shit, because I think I developed as a better player as I got older. That's where it is.
I say this now
So-
as a coach. The good young players who come through, there's a tendency within clubs, and I understand it, I do, to keep the good young players in your 18s, in your 20s, in your reserve team back in the day. We want to work with them, and the longer you keep them, the harder it is for them to end up in a first team somewhere and be ready for it. So we had a player at Power when you were coaching with us, young Zayden. So Zayden was killing it for the 20s.
Yeah,
Like scored 3-4 a game. but he was never going to get in the first team because we were so strong. It was the year of the QPL where we were pretty dominant.
Shut it in.
Pretty
Yeah.
good.
So we
Didn't lose a game.
we said
Only drew to them.
it might have been end of season trip was in Bali. And I think Zayden had said to me, what do I
Before he
need to
got
do?
sick and almost died.
Yeah, before he dehydration.
Allegedly.
Shout out Zane's
But we,
MVP.
he actually said to me, what I have to do to get in the first team, and I said, it's going to be tough. Like, you've got some very good players in front of you. What you probably need to do is go and play men's football, get kicked around a bit, get pushed off the ball, you know, take the odd elbow here and there, so that you're actually ready to play men's football for this club. And he's gone to Mitchie, and by all accounts had a good season. He's going to have another one. But he'll be better prepared for men's football now that he's actually playing it.
I think that's a big thing because I don't know about you guys, but I learned to play senior football from when I was about 15. Growing up in Rocky, like once you were 15, you could play senior football, and there weren't that many players around, so there was always a spot somewhere. So you're learning from 15, 16 years old to play at that level with men that are going to kick the shit out of you.
Irrespective of the level you're playing against men.
Yeah, exactly. And especially
that.
for me, like I was not much smaller than I am now. So if I was a target pretty much, so I had the shit kicked out of me. Or,
We targeted you a lot, actually.
Yeah.
We did do
So you should have. But then then you come down here and I thought it was an advantage coming into like my first year in Brisbane because I'd sort of played men's football for 2-3 years prior, as opposed to coming through and playing youth and then getting chucked into a first team or reserves where you're like, oh shit, this is how it works.
And look, some players will benefit from playing that youth system.
Yeah.
They're not physically ready to play men's football. We get that. I just think that there's a time and a place for saying that we could go and play Cap 1 or BPL or whatever, and just mix it with men.
Yeah. Experience.
Yeah.
Well, if we do it at a professional level, why wouldn't we do it?
Yeah, they get loaned out. Get loaned out to a lower league. And
I think
you do
in
get
Brisbane,
the shit kicked
the
out of you
20s, like the current system, there's a massive gap. I don't care what anyone says. There's a massive gap between playing 20s and playing men's, like as we just said, men's football. Taking that reserve grade aspect out of it has made, I think, this jump even bigger because clubs would have, a few probably 30 plus year olds that used to play top team that would then drop down and just good club men that would happy to be playing the resis, and that's where you understand, like at East, for example, we had like Derek Keogh, Mike Thompson, like guys like that who would drive that sort of club sort of expectation of the younger boys.
And they would kick the shit out of you.
And they would kick the shit out of you.
Not because they were dicks, just because that was how they played.
That's how they played.
Yeah.
So that's where like a lot of the gap was still massive from resis to top team, but it wasn't as big a gap.
Yeah.
If you get what I'm saying.
No, I agree. I think that 18, 19-year-old to first team, especially at the top end of the MPL, which is kind of my experience in the last year or whatever, it's such a massive jump. And the expectation on a young kid, you chuck them in. Like
We lost a boy at Power.
Yeah,
he said it was too.
we did.
Phenomenal player.
Yeah.
I can't think of his
I
name
know
off
his
the top of
name,
my
yeah.
head.
But
Phenomenal player.
yeah,
So
I know phenomenal. I think we are.
Jesus, he must have been good. Eh?
So he left because he couldn't.
No, he left because the pressure was too much to
Yeah.
perform.
Yeah.
I think people said, "Oh, you got to do this, you got to do that," and it's sad.
Got jacked of it.
Yeah,
Pretty much. Well, he said it was too much pressure. When I got called up, I didn't like it. It wasn't enjoyable.
Yeah.
Mind you, he held his own. He did,
he
really
did
well.
hold his own. He's
He was
a
the
good
next
young
Sam
player.
Roper.
Yeah, he was a good young player.
Bit overwhelming.
But yeah, I think the problem is that you make a mistake in a reserve team game or on a 20s game. It's like, no one, your teammates care, your coach cares, you care.
It's not the end of the world.
But the people up in the stands, it's like, we're running you for the first team game, most of us.
You're not getting.
Whereas you make a mistake in a first team game and it costs your team a win. Let's just say last year when we're going for a title, 18, 19-year-old comes in, makes a mistake. Like the pressure on that is huge.
Yep.
Sorry if you're mid-table, there's 3-4 games to go. It's fine.
I'll just quickly say something here. The pressure on the coach is probably even bigger. Picking a kid that age, who he knows isn't ready, but you want to the club people want to see their young players come through. The coach has to make that call. Do I do it? Do I not? It's tough. It's tough.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And training's completely
Really is.
different to game. They
Yeah.
don't kill your training.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
Oh,
do
massively.
that completely
Yeah.
different thing.
For sure.
Yeah.
So
So-
you missed out on
Missed
the
the
youth stuff.
missed
You went
the
straight
system.
into the-
Straight into senior footy.
Yeah.
Div 2. Got kicked the shit out of. but I was a smart ass and I put my hand up, like I deserved it.
Yeah.
I'd take throw-ins off players' backs running away from me so I could dribble at them again. It was fun. No, it was fun.
Bring
like
it back.
I loved
Bring
it.
that back.
Definitely.
I really enjoyed it, and some of the boys that used to watch us play, get on the piss, they used to like come and, you know, grab me out of the change room and take me up, and that's it. You're not going anywhere. You're getting drunk with us tonight. And I was like, I don't know. I just felt like 10 foot tall playing for a
one of
club
the
like
lads.
that. Yeah, it was brilliant. Stayed there for a few years. Had a little start at Easts. Played, another reject.
Another reject.
Another reject.
Jeez,
yes. The only difference is I left on my own choice.
Don't know how that
So,
feels.
hey, so did I.
Yeah, boom,
Hey,
boom.
actually, I said it.
Came back to Grange. Then Greg DeLosa turned up. What a player! We won the league. He took me under his wing. Took me over to Lions 2008. That was the first year Lions were allowed back into the comp after they'd given birth to the Raw.
Yeah.
Obviously, they were kicked out of the Football Brisbane comp for X amount of time because of no feeder clubs being allowed and whatnot. 2008 was probably my breakout year, and it was because of the sniff that I was given, I guess you'd say.
Interesting.
No pun intended. That team was all the old youth team got brought back together. We were young. We had like Matthias Simic was our centre midfielder. He was a 15-year-old kid ripping shit at that age. Shahil Khan was up front.
Showy.
Myself, Greg, Delosa, obviously. A few other boys. Adam O'Sullivan, Chris Butler. Like we had a freaking good team and an even better coach. John Syme, grumpy old bastard, but he is probably the coach that made me believe in myself. And I went on to new heights that year and had a fucking ball. It was good, very good.
Yeah.
Left there, went to Brisbane City.
Yeah.
And still played well.
Yeah.
But I learned how to party.
Yeah.
Boom.
I remember that had been the year that we played against each other.
Yes.
You were there with Corey Slevin.
Yes.
Yeah. Learned how to
Strong
party.
left side of the field that year. Yeah. Poor Benny on the right back.
Yeah. Do you want to tell the story?
No, you can tell it. If I tell it, it sounds like I'm pumping my own tyres up.
Yeah, fair enough.
Tell
Well,
it now.
I don't want to hear you tell it now.
yeah, so we played. I was playing for North Star. I was at North Star, and I'd been put right back because I was experienced. We had a very young team, so the coach had put us at right back. I didn't want to play there, and I'd been saying this for weeks, and he wouldn't listen. So we played against City, and I lined up against this young left winger, and he's come and stood beside us in the first couple of minutes. I said, "Look, mate." So I don't want to be playing right back. I said, what I need to do is get an early yellow card so that they move us away from right back. Like they'll move us up front. And he was like, yeah. I went, so I'm gonna have to kick you, take a yellow, and then I'm off. Like I'll move further up. And he was like, all right. So I'm just telling you, it's coming. Just jump out of the way. Like a couple of minutes, ball comes in. I'm absolutely hang time. About 3 or 4 meters off the deck, hang time. Referee comes up. He was like, no more of that. I looked at him. I went, yeah, I'm gonna have to do it again. He's like, all right. So a couple of minutes later, the ball's come in. Hang time, even higher this time. Landed. Referees come flying up. I thought, right, we've done it. He's like, I've told you, no more. Last chance. And Timmy's just looked at. He's limping around for a bit. I'm like,
I'll just jump in here. No wonder I don't like referees.
So anyway, long story short, with 3 or 4-0 down at half time, I haven't really had a chance to get you since then. Couldn't get near him. And second half comes. I think that we might have been 4 or 5 down at this point after about an hour.
I'd scored 2 by now.
He'd scored 2.
Jump in when you want it.
Yeah, it's all good. I'm
Tell the real story.
helping.
And, so Timmy's got 2 and I'm marking him loosely. And after about an hour,
Doesn't seem like it.
my head's gone here. Right, I'm 30-year-old. He's 20, 21.
I was 20.
And I'm not having it. I'm looking at him. Like, looks good. He's taking the piss. He's got 2. I don't want to be playing here. 5-0 down. So he gets the ball just inside our half on the left wing, and he kind of comes towards us, and he shows inside. He's about 35 yards out at this point. He shows inside, and I went, "Go on, fucking dare you!" And he's put in the stanchion from 35.
It was a bit closer than that from memory. Yeah.
It was close to 35.
And it was only Chrissy Corella in goals.
Chris Corella in goal, right? So anyway, the kickoff's been. I've just looked at him, and he's looked back, and he's just give it one of these little shrugs, you know. So we've took the kick off, and we've lost it anyway. The next time the ball goes to him, I've just ran, and I must have just jumped 2-footed waist high, and he's kind of just got out of the way, and maybe he's clipped his hip or something like that, and the referee just come flying up.
Red.
Yellow card, yellow card, and I just looked up at the dugout and just went, "Yeah, you're coming off," like so. Yeah,
Good game.
So,
Who's
you
the
went
ref?
well.
10
we
10
finished 10-0.
10-0.
10-0.
Finished 10-0, right?
10-0.
Yeah, we did well that day.
Fair play to North Star in the return leg. It was
2-2.
2-2, was it? Yeah.
Yeah, and I played up front and scored.
And your best player,
Funny
your
what
best
happens when you
player,
put someone in the right position, innit?
your best player was on the bench.
Bacon.
He couldn't play.
Yeah.
Lovely bloke.
Great bloke, Bacon.
What were you thinking?
Chris
after
Bacon, the
first
vegan.
challenge?
Hey?
What were you thinking after the first challenge? 20-year-old.
Fast feet or no legs. Yeah. As I got older, hey? We'll get to that later. Yeah.
All right, so City.
City.
Learn how to party.
Party. What a team. Like, unbelievable team. Some ex-pros in there. Rod Brown was the coach, Corey's dad. I remember he used to get us in at the change room real quick. So he could say what he needed to say, so he could shoot out the back to punch a dart. And last year he'd go out and join him, and then halfway through the year I was out there with him as well. So yeah, you wonder I never went pro. It was good times. That was the year before City brought in a TD. TDs and senior football don't work, so I'll just leave that one there. Jumped ship the end of that year and went over to Pine Hills to play under the hamster, Ashley Hampstead. He lost his head after about 4 weeks, and I just sort of pretty much took the rest of that year off. I went over to the Lions actually and trained with Rossi for the rest of the year, just to get some training. Yeah, took the piss in training. It was pretty fun actually. He had a good side as well, and I was all set to re-sign for Lions until Royce called and said, you know, come over to North Star. I've got a decent budget. He said, it's actually kind of funny. The thing that got me across the line, he goes, we're getting these Nike kits. Yeah, and I was like, I'm a small top and a medium shorts, and I'm there. And I want number 18. And I want number 18.
I'm feeling it 100%.
Back then I was about...
Our conversations every single time.
So, boom, straight to North Star. We came second, got promoted, but we won the grand final. Smoked Lions. Had a game called off like halfway through playing Lions first round, and then they replayed the second round on Origin night. Yeah, I know.
Blasphemy.
So I went to Origin, and we lost the game, and so be it. And then we went to Lions to play them twice, 2 weeks in a row, at Lions, and we smacked them both times. Hammered them. Cleary was phenomenal. We had a good side.
Yeah, you did. We played you in the cup that year.
We had Jimmy's brother, Pete Fairgreaves. He was one of the best players I've ever played with. So silky on the ball, just never gave it away. Macca at the back, so I enjoyed playing. Yeah, both. Trent was through the middle, I think, at that point. Michael at the back, and I just hung out on the right, just waiting for his big switch balls. Yeah, it's brilliant. Good side. Things went pear-shaped the next year. That's right. I want to play a bit of league. The itch that I needed to scratch. Yeah. So I did a full pre-season with West Mitchie. I was going to be a winger like my dad, and my missus fell pregnant. So I thought, okay, I was only an apprentice carpenter at the time, working for a good mate of mine, Antonio Invincible, another soccer boy, very well known around the parts. And I just thought, I needed a little bit of cash on the side just to do my best. Yeah. So I called Leo. He'd been calling me non-stop since he got this job at Mitchie, like every week. What is it going to be? 150.
Pause for a smoke.
Yeah. And just wait a second and crack another Red Bull. I remember calling him up and I said, you want me? He goes, yeah. I'm like, $250 a week. Done. See you Tuesday. I was like, yeah, no worries, I'll see you
Should've said
Thursday.
350.
Yeah.
Bit too easy.
That's the regret, isn't it?
Yeah,
Isn't it just?
They say yes straight away.
It's all good though. I went down there and I found a home. Hey, that club and what he did to that place. He'd been there for a couple of years, not as a head coach at that point. I think he was just an assistant, but he turned that place around. It was that same year we beat Mitchie playing for City that we played you. We beat them like 9-0 or something. It's like they were terrible.
Yeah.
On a hiding to nowhere. So he turned the club around. I jumped on board. We did the whole pre-season. We didn't win a game. And I remember saying, Chich, like, Leo, I got to go, mate. I can't do this. I'm a winner. And I said, we need more players. He's like, well, what are we going to do? I said, look, I know Corey pretty well. I reckon we could get him in. I'll drop $50 off my weekly wage sort of thing. And we'll get Corey across. And Leo's like, yeah, righto. So we get Corey in. Round one comes around and we just started winning games. And we just started winning and winning. I think we made finals that year. Didn't go anything special. Following year, same again. And then Leo started to build a real team. And, well, the rest was sort of history. We won.
Was that undefeated season?
Yeah, 22 games, 66 points.
Mm.
It sounds
That's
phenomenal.
not bad.
It sounds good. But there were games there where we were winning 1-0, winning 2-1 in the last minute. We had a quality team. There was a night there where we had a club function and we were playing North Pine or something like that the next night.
Yeah.
At 5 o'clock on Saturday morning, we had I think 8 of our first team players in Cloudland with the club president and Leo. And we had to turn up for a game that afternoon. And Luke Faz got sent off in the first, I think, 3 minutes, kicking, what was a good left-footed player's name from North Pine? Shane Coffey. He kicked Shane Coffey, I think, around the chest.
Tactical from Faz that.
Sent off. 10 v 11, all steaming, stinking of piss. Like I was getting high, just smelling people run past me. And we end up winning 2-1 in the last 2 minutes. Champion team. Yeah, brilliant.
That's the sort of season you look back on and think like that was a peak.
The bond with that we all had as a team and those players, like there's a mutual respect. We knew what we did for each other that year, and you can't break it. Yeah,
It was
special.
Yeah, because I think I turned up the year after to play for the Rezzies. I was just after I left Albany Creek and I turned up. I thought, well, Mitch, you're going to win the league. The reserves are 10 points clear. I thought I'd just go on a bit of fun for 3 months. So the reserves and the first team used to train at the same time, one half the pitch, the other half the pitch. You'd have 16 reserve team players training every single session, Tuesday, Thursday, and you'd look up and there'd be about 3 first teamers there. I'd be like, where's the first team? It's like, oh, Leo's asked if they want to go to Down Under for a few drinks. I'm like, seriously? But the nights you did train, you'd look up, there'd be 3 people there, you'd be like, they were there a minute ago, and then you'd look at the dugout, and there'd be all 7 of them sat there having a tap.
Warm up.
Unbelievable culture at that club. But as you say, he turned it round and everyone just bought into what Leo wanted to do. It was brilliant.
Yeah, he's a special person. He doesn't realise just how special he is, especially at the moment. He has an aura about him. He walks into a room and it's just like everyone lifts, unless you don't know him and you're like, who the fuck are you?
But see, we mentioned a few times about possibly having him on here for a chat. I don't know the guy that well, but everyone that does know him that I know has not a bad word to say about him. It's all like what you're saying right now. It's all the exact same.
He's a prick. Like he's one of those guys that when you're playing against him, all you hear is Leo just slagging you. Yeah. But then like,
but in
a good like not.
It's good nature.
It's good nature way, just a bit of banter, just to try to get you off your game or whatever. But then when we bumped into you guys at Byron, and I actually bumped. Actually saw a different side of Leo, and like ever since then I love the bloke. Well, he's unreal.
You realised that the Mitchie boys partied harder than the East boys, so you come and join our party, didn't you?
Yeah, Leo's like, jump in a cab, mate. We're only around the corner.
Myocum. How long is it from Myocum to Byron Bay?
I think my GPS said it was a 4-hour walk home. I think
it was 6-hour walk home, and I got you about 20 minutes down the street. You hadn't even made it out of the end of the road.
Yeah.
And
That
I
was
was
a
going.
good decision to
Yeah.
make. Eh?
I was going for a surf. This is an end of season story, by the way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
should have been a couple of weeks ago.
Would have been about 8 a.m. I think. I decided
Yeah,
to.
the boys had all
try.
stayed up all night. I was going to meet a couple of mates from the sunny coast, actually, that I was friends with. They were bringing a board down who were going to go and surf. So I've gone off driving down the road, and I was like, I'd heard them all up all night, just sitting around this table, talking about whether or not they should go and steal the baby goats from next door and stuff like that. And I was like, whatever. And come downstairs, and there was like only, I think it was Joey Clebo, Jack Mitchell, Sam Foster.
I think
Leo-
Benny
Leo.
Enjoy there at that stage.
Benny would have been asleep like
Asleep,
10
yeah.
p.m. So
Of
anyway,
course, Joey was there.
yeah, Joey was there, and yeah, TC was gone, and I was like, boys, where's Tommy? And they're like, he's walking home. I was like, are you kidding me? He's gonna die. Like, it takes like 20 minutes by car going 100 k's an hour. Do you know how far that is? It's like, fuck, I'm going that way. I'll try find him. And yeah, sure enough, here he is walking down the road, just like, you weren't even walking, you were
Stumbling
kind of
down
just
the road.
floating.
I remember calling Mika because he's a lawyer, asking if I could get arrested for stealing a horse. Like, that's how desperate I was. Eh? I was like, I'm gonna have to steal a horse. That's all that was around. Little ponies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Shetlands.
Yeah, little Shetlands.
I think you must have run your phone out, because I remember trying to go through my phone and flicking through all Boydie's Snapchats of him pissing all night.
We got the same
Trying to
one.
find,
We
yeah,
got the exact same one.
piss like a racehorse that
yeah,
way.
40 pictures of his pipe, eh?
Yeah.
Good old boy.
Not much of a
Doesn't
bite.
look very big from up down.
The worst thing going.
Oh, Trace, did you hear what they said about my fight?
With the point, the high elbow point. Oh,
Yeah.
love the bloke.
Speaking of the point,
Love the bloke.
that
The photo.
yeah.
The photo. Yeah. I will not tell the story as to why I pointed,
Yeah,
but all I knew is that we were 1-0 down. I came on off the bench, Cup final.
yeah, it was
Cup final against the Doggies
Canali Cup.
at the Gap, which was my junior club, which is quite interesting. Anyway, we were 2-1 up. A few minutes to go. I had a reason to start a little ruckus and take more time off the clock, so I just
Yeah.
went to town. Me and Robbo just had
Yeah.
a little tussle. I was looking up at him, big boy.
Yeah,
Big boy. But we've got a lot of mutual respect. We're good friends, and
Yeah.
it was just a bit of fun and games, I guess you'd say.
Yeah.
But brilliant photo.
Yeah, it's-
Ian Judd
Yeah.
took that one.
Fedora.
Shout out to Juddy. Yeah,
it's like a
Oh, no, this
modern
is
day
the-
iconic.
the
one.
angry one.
The angry one.
Yeah.
I'm talking about Juddy's fedora.
Oh, Fedora. Sorry,
Yeah.
I thought you said with
Handbags.
the daughter.
No.
Yeah, he's taking
That
a
is
few
a good
nice
photo
photos of
too,
me,
actually.
Juddy.
He loves you, actually, doesn't he?
Secret crush, maybe.
Yeah, well, you are very photogenic.
Can't miss
so-
that fucking tan body of yours.
No.
Photogenic.
I'm sweating sitting next to you.
From-
Just by the way.
It's hot in here, man.
Two,
Thank you.
2 titles in a row, Mitchie.
Yeah,
You hung around for the next year with Sam.
The Sam Safe era.
yeah,
Yeah, you did 1 year with Sam.
yeah.
How was that? The change. I mean, I was.
Oh,
there was a change in
Leo
culture.
stuck around, didn't he?
Yeah, he was.
Leo
behind the scenes.
kind of stuck
Wasn't Leo
around for a
TD?
bit.
Wasn't that his role or something like that?
How did that go down with
He
the
was
playing
the
group?
touch director. You'd have to like massage him and stuff.
How did that go down? Like with him?
I
having-
enjoyed Sam. I enjoyed the challenge. I was always one for like a new thing. So yeah, I enjoyed the fitness that he brought.
Yeah.
You know, Leo would say run, and you'd look at me like, nah. Sam would say run, and you go, okay, yeah, like I will. Group of mates who played footy together.
Yeah.
They were on the piss like no
Not the other way
tomorrow.
around.
No, not at all. And you didn't make it at that club unless you fit into the group, into the clique. It's a very cliquey place, coastal towns. Like it's just the way it is. If you didn't fit into the group, you're just whatever.
Yeah.
So it suited me just fine because love to party, whatever. Hang out with the boys. Yeah.
Surf.
Having a bit of a surf here and there, and that's where it all sort of came undone for me. I think it was we almost got through the first round, about 7 weeks in, first of 3 rounds, and we're playing a game up at NYU, Nambour Yandina, and through ball. I'd just gotten fit actually, 7 weeks in, just gotten fit. Like honestly, it took me that long. and because we don't do a pre-season or anything.
Yeah.
Ball got played out from the goalkeeper to a centre back from their team. Midfielder from their team. He lost the ball, and it was passed to another player, and then forwarded through to me, and I was sort of through, kind of one player to beat in on goal. He was over to my left, and the player who'd actually lost the ball had tracked back quite well, and he outrun the next pass, and sort of slid in on me from behind my left shoulder. So I didn't know he was actually, like, I knew he was coming, but I just didn't think that he'd do that.
Yeah.
A normal person,
Because from the angle,
you'd pull a shirt,
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah, and anyway, right as I just touched the ball away and to chase it and just take off, and just as my right leg hit the ground, he slid in and hit me, and I had all my weight on my right leg.
Yeah.
And my leg exploded, like actually exploded. I got a video of it, and the noise is like a whip cracking.
Yeah.
And my first instinct, I knew exactly what had happened. I have a really quick processing skill.
Do you look down at that point? to
Not
see?
yet. My next step was with my left leg, and as my left leg hit the ground, I caught my right leg with my hands, both hands, and twisted my body and landed on my left shoulder so that I could keep my leg up in the air, because I knew that I didn't have a leg there.
Yeah.
I didn't know what it looked like at that point. I'm sorry if this is making people squirmy, but I've had a lot of time to go through this and deal with it, so I can talk about it like this. If this was, 6 months ago to a year ago, I probably couldn't say what I'm saying right now. So I'd actually caught my leg, and I just sort of got myself comfy, and that was it. I just waited. There's nothing more I could do. I did say one thing. There was a point there where I felt completely helpless, and that moment in time just seemed to go for a very long time. I was just like, I just wanted someone to help me and be there for me. And I remember saying, fuck, please help. And the first person to come across was one of their players, and he pretty much just said, and I know that he didn't mean this, but he said, there's not really much we can do for you, mate. And I just said, get fucked, like fuck off, go away, because I didn't need to hear those words then. And I don't have, like, that wasn't on purpose. It was just one of those things. Probably didn't really know what to say, but the club president came out and he held my hand, and I said, just do not let me go, don't leave me, I don't care, everyone else can do this shit, just stay with me. And
it's funny that you say that, because I played in a game. My best friend was a keeper, and he had a real bad injury. He's cleared a ball, and defenders forwards kind of hung a leg out and turned, and my mates just kicked it, and just his legs just wrapped all the way around.
That's the Sam Knight tackle, exactly the same.
And he's on the floor, and I'll never forget, our centre midfielder Gary Pearson, he broke his leg badly when he was younger, and he was the first one across, and all he did, he just lay on the floor and just gripped his hand and wouldn't leave him. So I just wonder now, if an incident like that happened, you would probably have that knowledge to go across and just stay with someone. And it always struck me about what Gaz did, where he went across and he just gripped him. He gripped him and almost made the pain transfer.
I just needed to be like held. As gay as that sounds, I did. And I then remember seeing my dad walk out onto the field, because mum and dad were like, that was their Saturday night fever, come and watch us play sport. They come out on the field, and I remember dad walking across, and I was like, someone stop him, because he's about to kill this bloke, because my dad's a big fella, quite intimidating. And a couple of our players, there's a bit of a push and shove and whatever, and dad ended up going over and just actually, I think he like put his arm around the bloke and said, it's all good, like, or something like that, or even talking to the ref, or doing something that I didn't expect. And then when mum came over, I was like, cover me up, like, I don't want her to see this.
It was compound, wasn't it?
Yeah. So I had a little pork chop sticking out of my shin. Pork cut.
I don't know, you shared the footage not long ago on Facebook, okay?
I shared it as part of the healing process, which I'm still dealing with.
So how long ago did it happen?
Oh, that was two and a bit years ago now. But I haven't played a game since. I got myself. I went through a part where, like, it's 18 months regardless of what you do, it's pretty much 18 months to the day until you can pain-free jog. And I'll say pain-free with inverted commas over it, because there's no such thing as pain-free.
Your legs will be messed up.
But then there's the mental side where you sort of, you got to think about that every step you take.
Well, mentally, it was the hardest. Has been the hardest thing I've had to go through. I didn't know just how important physical activity was, and the game of football, and the mates that you have out of your team. Don't get me wrong, there were messages of support left, right and centre, and I think I rode a wave of adrenaline for a good 4 months after it happened, in terms of the support, the people coming in, just checking up on you. Hey mate, how you doing? Like, how's things? You want to have a coffee?
Knowing people care.
Yeah, just knowing that people give a shit about you. Okay, I'm a good bloke. People like me.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's a nice feeling. It really is.
Did you find when you did it, when I did my knee, I only really wanted to, the same thing happened, people are messaging you, you're blah, 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 all that sort of stuff. I only wanted to talk to people that had done it.
Yeah.
And speak about their experience, how long it was going to take. Obviously in yours it's completely different. ACL to what you did, it's a bit different, but those were the only people that I really wanted to speak to.
Yep.
I found myself just, I'll be all good. Not really writing back much to people that
didn't understand.
That are checking on you,
Yeah.
but people that have done it and gone through it, I found myself really just picking their brains and just talking
more with them.
That's all I wanted to do.
I think there's even an Instagram group called the ACL Club or something. There's a real big support network for that.
Well, I ended up
type of injury.
Following somebody on Instagram that done three, still plays professionally.
Yep.
And just all that sort of stuff. But was that something that you did as well, or was it?
I actually
you find yourself doing that.
Yeah, well, I was good friends with Gerald Yo-Yo when I was younger, just circulating the same friendship groups. So I reached out to him and asked him, because it's identical injury to what he did while he was playing against South in
that was horrific
in Perth.
Yeah.
I actually passed out in my seat watching that game. So all of a sudden, and that was me. Before I went through that injury, that was me. I was that person who'd just be like, "No, I can't handle that." I remember having to run downstairs and get a can of Coke out of the fridge. Come around and just be like, I can't believe I've just seen that.
Yeah, I remember watching that. Live.
Anyway, I reached out to him, just sought advice from other people, what to expect. Does this pain feel right? Am I using it too much? Is that normal? Should it throb after just doing that little bit of stuff? Just all these questions that were a great unknown. I had a good physio, Kurt Liesel, at the time, who was part of the Socceroo setup actually. Yeah. So he was great. I knew he knew his stuff, because I walked in and he's like, "Okay, here's your injury, blah 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 blah." And he turned around, looked at me, he goes, "How are you?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" He goes, "How's your head? What's going on?" I was like, "Wow, yeah, you've been and done this before. Okay, I'm going to stick with you for a bit." Yeah. Saw him for a while. He got me to a point, got me a program that got me as good as I could. And all I really wanted to do from day one is just walk properly again. Yeah. And I didn't have an end goal, and I still don't. I don't know where I'm going to end up. I'd like to play again. I really would. Whether it's worth it, my age, time, money, family, is it worth it? Yeah. My marriage has suffered hugely from this, because my mental health has been all over the place since the injury. I've struggled. I've had to self-medicate with a bit of dope and stuff like that. Yeah. Sleeping issues. I think I'm actually probably suffering post-traumatic stress from it.
You would be.
I am. Just before I go on, I've actually been seeing people. I've got help. I've got medication. I'm on some medication for my mental state. And it's just something that I'm working through slowly. Yeah.
Did that take you some time to go and sort that, or was it?
Yeah. But I was trying to work through it myself for a very long time without actually knowing what I was doing. I didn't know I was going through it. My mum's quite an intelligent person, and she sort of sat back and just let it happen for a while, hoping that things would sort of sort themselves out. And then one day she said, "Mate, we got to go help you. Get some help. What do you think about that?" And ummed and ahed about it for a bit. And the first step was just like bit of marriage counselling.
Yeah.
Not that the missus was going to leave me or I was going to leave her or anything. It was just a bit of a chit chat and a catch up, and just educate myself and my wife as to what I was going through, I guess.
Yeah.
So that she could be a bit more understanding, and then it just opened up this whole floodgate of possibilities, and just being able to become in touch with like what I was going through and figure it out. I go through really bad days sometimes, and I go through spells and periods where I'm good and I'm fine, and that's the front that everyone sort of sees. But I've always got shit going on there, and everybody does. At some point, I think that mental health for me, if you compare it to physical pain thresholds, I think it's relevant. So everyone's got a different physical pain threshold. You can put a nail gun through your hand and someone will pull it out, another person will like cry and fall asleep, same with up there, Some people can work high stress jobs or, be in stressful situations and handle them really well, and others go just shut down, and then that's when you have like kind of like a breakdown.
Didn't you? Would you say at the end of when you said you kind of rode the wave for about maybe 4 months of everyone touching in, but then there comes a point where people stop asking how you are because
that's
they
when
think you're fine.
That's when you picked up on it.
Yeah, but if you want to pick up what you were doing, like more social media, wasn't it? As soon
as it happened, I just sort of figured out where to next and whatnot, and all of. As I said, that first goal was just to walk again, and that didn't actually take too long because it's crazy. Like the surgery they do for you, they physically drill through the middle of your bone and put a metal rod in there, and then put screws at the top and bottom. So for anyone who's like a chippy out, it's like putting a beam against an old house beam, and all of a sudden your house is structurally sound again.
Yeah.
So I could walk within 2 weeks. It was very painful, but. Yes, slowly but surely, and the more and more you start walking. So I kind of started hitting these goals really quickly, and then there was this point where I plateaued, and I thought I was never going to get better again, and I couldn't deal with it. I was like, but I was so scared and shy and almost like embarrassed to admit that I don't think I was going to get to where I wanted to go. So I just used like social media and just put more photos up than normal and whatever, and just the likes.
Yeah.
It shows that people care. Do they care? Whether a like means that they care, I don't know. Probably doesn't,
Yeah.
Because I like a lot of good-looking girls' photos and couldn't give two shits about them,
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah. But yeah, the thing is, so I don't know why, but Paul Dimmick had reached out a couple of times to me in that time and said, "Oh, do you want to come down and help us out?" And I'd said, "No, I'm not ready to help out. I don't want to babysit 20s league."
Yeah.
And then you called up out of the blue one day. I remember really well. I was lying on the couch, just like dead set staring at the ceiling, tossing up whether to go and get a bag of weed or not. And Benny calls, and I was like, "Oh, hey mate, what's going on?
It's a sign.
What's happening?"
Benny knew.
Hey,
Got any weed, Benny?
yeah, he said, what's happening, mate? Like, what are you doing? I said, not a lot. Just, how's things? Yeah. You just went bullshit. Pretty much. You just pretty much called bullshit.
Yeah.
You said, I'm just on my way to a game, actually. Or it was like maybe pre-season game or something.
Yeah.
And you said, Philpa and I have been chatting. We've lost our assistants.
Yeah.
They were co-sharing a job, I think it was.
Well, yeah.
And for whatever reasons, they couldn't commit again. And would you like to come in? Boom, sign me up.
Yeah,
I'm there.
I think I'd seen the spike in your social media.
Yeah, you said that. You called it. And
I said, look, there's obviously something going on.
Yeah.
And I think it was the next day you rang back and you said, I've had to think about what you said, and you probably is right. I think you were getting in arguments and all sorts on social media.
Yeah, it was just like shit stirring people.
Yeah. So,
have
but
a
it
bit of
worked
fun.
out-
I was bored.
worked out well,
Something to do.
I was bored.
Yeah.
I was so bored.
She came on board at Power for 2 years, 2 successful years. We've enjoyed it, and I think now,
Absolutely no coincidence either.
Yeah.
I'm just being honest. The system and everything in place at Power is phenomenal. Best club I've ever walked into.
Yeah.
Hardest thing I ever had to do was leave. I actually put myself into another little spin about my decision, having to walk away from it. It would just became too draining on my family. And I was travelling.
It's a long commute.
Yeah, it's an hour door to door from Moffat Beach to Peninsula Power. If you're ever up at Moffat Beach, come hit me up. Got a big house. Come stay.
Bring weed.
I grow my own now, so it's all good. Just joking.
So, what does the future hold now? Football, or are you still undecided?
No, I do have aspirations to play again. I actually been in touch with Arnie a little bit.
Yeah.
Went down to a couple of sessions for pre-season training. You got to actually turn up to train for it to be called training, I guess you'd say. But yeah, I just sort of showed my face a couple of nights there and sniffing around. But Leo's been calling as well, so it's one of those things.
So
Just
watch this space.
watch this space, definitely.
How's it feel?
The leg feels good, but in saying that, my biggest problem is that I know that I can run straight. I can't.
First tackle.
I can't dictate. Yeah.
Have you
I
done-
said to you, I'd love to play a game again, but there's going to be a point in that game where it's you either leave your leg in here, Tim, or you jump it. And if you jump it, you might as well just keep walking off and
Isn't
jump
it-
the fence too.
Isn't that what Jarrell?
Yeah, he got back. He got back,
but then
started playing, was playing for Norths, and chipped a little bit off the side again. And,
Yeah.
and that was him.
Yeah, I think I remember seeing something like similar sort of conundrum to him. He's like, when it comes to that full body contact that I have to do, he was going the other way, and as soon as he said that as a competitor, he's like, well, okay, that's my cue to sort of hang
playing
on.
Origin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Bronx have been
Bronx.
fair to him. He's got a lifetime
Yeah.
job there, and brilliant. It's just.
It's mental, eh?
It is. It's massively upstairs.
Yeah.
And I think that for full circle for me, I just need to get that game under my belt. Whether that helps me go through the other stuff that's going
It's
on.
little wins when I come back from my knee, 'cause I didn't get surgery, so I had an ACL, PCL, MCL. I chose the other way. Come back after 7 months. Same thing as you. You get to a certain point and you think you can't get past it, and everyone's still asking, oh, I see you out there running. I'm not changing directions, you know. So they think, he's
He's
close.
He's so
And then you
far
start
away.
training. I actually
So
started
far
to
away.
not take the advice of the physio and things like that. I actually went and seen Mark Jones 5 months. He's the Socceroos team doc, and he told me, look, you can't do 3 out of the 4 ligaments in your knee and not get surgery. You should have got surgery. He said, your predicament you're in now, it's probably going to go in the next 2 or 3 years unless you really strengthen it. Blah, blah, blah. So I did everything I could. I remember 2 days after I did it, I was in the gym on crutches. So I worked my ass off, but getting back into that training scenario, twisting, turning, that first little tackle, you second guess it. It's that mental thing is so hard, and then when it gets to the first game, it's even worse.
Yeah.
But once you get past it, it's just those little.
Yeah.
It takes a
stepping
while
stones.
to it's taken
the
me.
worst.
It's taken me from my latest knee operation probably 18 months, almost two seasons, where in my head mentally, I'm not confident on it. You know what I mean? And you think you're ready.
Yeah.
And everyone's saying, yeah, you're sweet, but then when you're out there, you're like, oh shit, that don't feel good. Or it's
The little bits of pain.
and it does, as Timmy's been saying, it wanes. It just drains you mentally, and
in
it's
your outside life as
It
well.
wanes you
When-
too.
it wane welds you as well.
When football's not going quite as well, or whether you've got injury and stuff, it affects your personal life because football's such a big part of it. And being physical, you wouldn't be able to surf, which would be another thing.
And
that
your
you
job
wouldn't
as
wanna-
well,
Yeah, I had 10 months off work. We lost a lot of money.
Yeah, that's crazy, man.
Yeah.
Massive.
And that's the thing at this level, like amateur football, you don't have that support. Like your support, as you said, is all basically on the surface from majority of people. But then that sort of runs out, and then people sort of forget about you. But you're still dealing with the problems, and it's
Well wishes. They don't pay the mortgage. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Many likes as you want on social
exactly
media, but
right.
you still got to pay bills. So.
Yeah.
You're dealing with
Like
real,
mum and
real
dad,
life.
and I also had some income protection there, which was like a godsend.
Yeah.
a lot of people say, how lucky were you? It's like, no, it's just clever. I'm
Yeah,
playing a
smart,
sport
yeah.
where it could happen, and I got a family, children. The day my first child was born, I pretty much signed up to income protection.
Yeah.
The day my second child was born, I was down Byron Bay for an end of season trip. So there's truth to that story too.
Jesus.
Save that for another time.
Well, look, what I will say, been fantastic having you on.
100%.
We'll do it again in the future, I'm sure. But really appreciate you coming on and being as honest as what you've been, because that can't be easy.
No.
So thank you for that, and yeah, good luck with what's next for yourself.
I really appreciate it.
Thanks for taking us through it, mate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks for having
Good
me,
insight,
boys.
really
And
good insight.
yeah, as I said, just keep on carrying on with what you're doing. I think it's brilliant. So
Yeah.
fair play to you. Been into your podcast for quite a while now.
Yeah.
So, and I dare say that you've had something bubbling there.
Yeah. The lich, eh?
Little itch that needed scratching.
If you don't mind.
All right. Well, this is the end of the first half of today's show, and yeah, we'll be back in a couple of days with the second half. Okay.
Thanks, Timmy.
Thanks, Timmy.